does simple interest work? Do you remember what the formula was? Yeah, Ali. I equals P R N. Good, okay. So we use this, or T, that's right, because that's about time. We use this to calculate interest. What was the point of calculating interest? Why does interest exist? What is it?
Money.
Yes, money. What kind of money is it? It's a special kind of money. It's extra money, money on top of money that you've paid, right? Usually, for example, if you get a loan, right? You borrow some money and then you have to pay extra for the fact that they're letting you use their money for a little while, or vice versa, right? So you might take a loan of like $5,000 or something like that, and then they charge you some interest on it. And that's the way simple interest works, okay? Now let's just give an example of that, okay? $5,000. If that's our principal $5,000, okay? Let's make up an interest rate. What have we been saying? Something like 6 or 7%. Okay, let's go for that. 6%. Okay. Now, just suppose we stuck that money in the bank and we put it in for, I don't know, let's say a long time, maybe 30 years.
Are you right?
30 years, it's a long time. Okay. Now, what would that be equal to? Let's just quickly work it out because we've used this formula to death by now, right? We say I equals, okay, we're going to get some pieces together here. 5,000 by, now the rate, right? You don't put it in as a percentage. What do you put it in as? As a decimal, right? Or a fraction, I suppose, would give you the same thing, right? But what's the decimal in this case? 0. Well done. 0.06. And of course, your last piece is how long it stays in there, which in this case, 30 years, a long time. Okay. Now, let's see how my arithmetic skills are. I think this is 1.8. 1.8. I think this is going to be 9,000. Someone want to check that out?
I'll check right now.
9,000?
I won't.
9,000.
How's that?
Good.
Yeah? Check out.
It's 9,000 actually.
Bingo, okay. Oh, I should have done a little more than it'd be over 9,000, but it's not. Oh well. Now, there you go. That's a lot of money, by the way. That's not how much the money's worth all up. That's just the interest. Just the interest. So you started with this, and so if I put them together, that'd be $14,000. Okay. Now here's the thing, though. You guys know that if I was sitting there, if I took that money out, okay, now you've got all this extra money, right? Each year, it's just been getting the same amount added on. 5,000 times 0.06. How much is it getting each year? 30 years, I got $9,000 interest in total. How much is being added on every single year?
300.
Each individual is $300. $300 one year, $300 the next, $300 the next, and on and on and on and on. Okay? But here's the thing. If I pulled that money out after, say, 15 years, right? It wouldn't be 5,000 anymore. It would have grown, right? And then I could have stuck it in some other bank. Maybe it would have been, after 10 years, it would be 5,000 plus those 10 lots of 300, right? So after 10 years, I'd be able to take that $5,000, the extra interest, and I'd have $8,000. And then I could put that in a bank, right? And it'd earn more interest than my original 5,000. Does that make sense? It's going to be worth more. So if I put it in another bank, even if it's the same interest rate, it's actually going to earn more because the principal is bigger. Okay? Now, this principle works all the time. You don't have to wait 10 years. You can wait like 1 year or a day even, right? Every day that it's in there, the money's getting bigger, right? It shouldn't be paid the same amount over and over again. This amount, the interest, should be getting bigger as well, okay? So that's why we introduced the idea of compound interest. I'll show you how it works. Underneath your subheading, you might like to call it real interest because in banks and investments and that kind of thing, they're all done by compound interest. Almost no one uses simple interest because simple interest is a bit of a rip-off, right? Your money just sits there and it gets the same amount of interest over and over again. But compound interest, the interest compounds on itself. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why it's called compound interest. So let's do an example.
What's so funny about that?
Let's start with our $5,000 again. Okay. $5,000. And we'll do it on a year-to-year basis. We'll see what happens to this figure. Okay. I'm going to rub this off because let's just think about at the end. 30 years, And I think we said 5,000 plus 9,000, that's 14. So that's what happens 30 years simple interest. Okay? What happens if we compound it? Here's what I mean. What we do is every single year we work out how much interest you get. Okay, every single year, right? So the way we'll do this is, well, let's think about how this works normally, okay? If I go 1 year, 6% interest. The first year, how much interest am I going to make? Well, we just worked this out, right? It's 5,000 times 0.06, there's the rate, times, well, just 1 year. There's my n, okay? Now, I think we just discussed, that's $300. Is that okay? Okay, so $300. So I need to introduce a bit more language here so that I can talk about these and distinguish them, okay? So I'm going to call this number here P0. P for principal and 0 for, this is where I'm starting. This is my starting point. After no time has passed, 0 time has passed, that's what I start with, okay? So if I write P1, what's the principal after 1 year? Okay, started with 5,000. We got this much interest. So what am I going to have at the end of the year?
5,300.
5,300, no problems. Okay. But now I'm going to work out interest again, and my principal is bigger now. Okay. So if I work out the interest on this, it'll be the interest which is, bless you, there's my new principal, times the same rate, times another year. He's interested. Now, I don't know what that is. That's a bit of a hard number to work with. So can someone on their calculator tell me what that's equal to? What do we got? 300 and how much? Is that exact or? Yeah, okay, great. Now have a look. The principal from here to here was bigger, right? The principal grew in size from here to here. Okay. So therefore, the interest also grew in size. But we got paid an extra 300 at the end of the first year. But now we get paid more, right? All right, let's do it again. Let's see what happens. So now I've got P2. After 2 years, I started with 5,300 and I add on 318. So now how much do I have?
5,618.
5,618. Okay. I'm going to do it again, but this is my new principal, okay? So I'll go interest equals 5,618, right? I'll multiply by 0.06 again. And then I do 1 more year. Okay, these numbers are getting hard for me, so what's our calculator tell us?
7.08.
How much again? Say it again. 3.08. Are there any numbers after that?
No.
That's it. Okay, great. So that's the interest I get paid during the 3rd year. So at the end of 3 years, I should have this amount plus this interest. Okay, let's see. What is that? 5,955? Is that right? Someone just verify that for me. My number's okay.
5.08.
Yeah.
5? Yeah, that's okay. All right. So,
what did you?
I'm adding how much I started with at the start of the 2nd year, and then how much interest I got in that 2nd year. This is at the end. Okay, I'm up to 3.
So interesting.
I think I just lost brain cells. Now.